Hi, good morning.
Good morning,
everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen. We are just going to start. I guess you are busy filling out the pre-module assessment. Okay. So, just a little bit brief introduction about what we are going to do in these 3 days. Basically, this entire module has been developed for, it will become successful only if we get your participation in it, because it is more activity based. Because the data that we are going to present, I guess everybody has it. Okay, and it is readily available everywhere. So, we are just going to start with a small icebreaker, and I'll just introduce myself first. My name is Sudipta Nag. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Zoology, University of Science and Technology, Meghalaya. And I have been working in the field of wildlife research for the last 8 years. I've worked in majority of the states in Northeast India, also in Corbett landscape, Rajaji landscape. So this is about me, and this is Dr. Shahnawaz Jalil.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shahnawaz. You can call me Shah or Nawaz, whatever. I'm currently a consultant in a design engineering company which is based in Bangalore. But my department mostly supports the UK environment. I have worked before in the Wildlife Institute of India, and I've worked mostly in about 7 to 8 states of India. Currently, I'm based in Bangalore, but previous experiences are from different states, mostly in Assam only. But I was also involved in a 5-year long-term tiger recovery project in Maharashtra. So yeah, welcome everyone. It's good to see so much participation. And as Professor Nag said, like we've sort of made this module not only class-based or presentation-based, but it's a mixture of presentations and exercises and activities, so that we get the most out of it. As he said, like most of the data, if we nowadays we Google everything, we get the data. But how does all the actual data get implemented, and because all of us are different stakeholders, and in our departments, in our day-to-day activities, how do we implement all those activities? So we are wanting to get the most out of it, right? So I'm excited. I hope everyone is. So we'll start with the icebreaker.
For the icebreaker, I guess everybody has a notepad with you. You can just use one page of the notepad, write down your name, your department, and any animal that you relate with. You can just make a schematic diagram of it. I'm very bad in drawing. I'll admit that first, because maximum of us are, I guess. But you can make a cartoon character, anything, any animal that you think you connect with. And we are also going to do that.
Yeah.
We'll be presenting first. Okay, your name, department, and any animal that you relate with. You think that you have those characteristics. At least it's looking like the animal that I think it is. So,
You have the names?
I've already introduced myself. My name is Sudipta Nag. I'll go again. I'm from the education sector, and what I have drawn, I guess, is it recognizable? Okay. As you know, my surname is also Nag, so I relate with this animal very much better, and I don't react till somebody does not ping me. So I'm normally a very calm kind of a person.
Yeah. So yeah, I've also drawn something. I hope it's understand. My name is Shah. And I'm in the consulting and design engineering ground. Can anybody say what this is? Yeah, it's a giant panda. Yeah, it's Kung Fu Panda. It's the same one. So yeah, I think I relate with this because I'm mostly calm. Where if everything, like the resources are available to me, I'm calm as the panda. Also, I'm quite lazy, so this is my spirit animal. So yeah, this is us. Can we have a volunteer, like from where we can start? Anyone wants to go first? Or we
Ma'am?
can- Yeah. thank you.
India. I am from the forest department. So mine is a dog because I feel it is loyal, protective, love towards the family, so I am that.
Thank you so much.
Just love from the forest department. So the animal which I'm picking is an elephant.
It's very nice.
So it's an intelligent animal,
Yeah.
soft-hearted.
Yeah.
But when it's triggered or being neck for many times, it becomes aggressive.
Yeah.
And the king.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much. Next, ma'am, if you want. It's okay, you can sit
I'm
and.
obviously from like the Biodiversity Board.
Yeah.
I drew a cat.
Sure.
Okay. Cat is quite lovable,
Yeah.
and the bad side is that sometimes it's egoistic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
Myself and Dr. Lindon from Meghalaya Biodiversity Board.
Yeah.
I drew a dog,
Okay.
and said
Yeah.
a dog being loyal, protective towards their owners or to anyone who's around them.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Myself, as they from Biodiversity Board, Meghalaya Biodiversity Board. I love fish. Yes, I love fish and I like fishing.
Great.
Eating fish also.
Great.
We all love fishes.
Hello
Yeah.
everyone, I'm Ivan Cover from the Biodiversity Board.
Okay.
So I drew a cat which doesn't look like a cat. Why I drew a cat is that maybe the cat is kind, calm. If like my colleague said, if she's not harmed,
Yeah.
she can be calm, kind, and also loyal.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Hello everybody, good morning. My name is Vanisha. I'm from Forest Department.
Yeah.
Myself also I draw
Again,
a
fish.
because I love fish. Just I love to stay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Biodiversity Washington from State Environment Impact Assessment Authority. Yes, the animal I can relate myself with is a bull.
Okay.
I'm a Taurus, so I'm a Taurus. And the relatable characters that a bull have, that I think so, that I have with a bull is I'm bold, strong, and like the saying goes, you mess with the bull, you get the horse.
Nice.
So, hello everyone, my name is Dwarka. I'm from State Environment Impact Assessment Authority, and I think my spirit animal would be a fishing cat because slightly
Great.
elusive, slightly no, not slightly, but more very much introverted, but yet in for the kill, and also very active at night. And I love eating fish.
Yeah, also
I
likes
love
fishes.
muddy waters.
Yeah. Good. It's great.
Hello everyone, I'm Mayanta Snow. I'm from State Environment Assessment.
Okay.
I drew a cat because
Yeah.
I feel like it's playful and
Yeah.
it's mischievous.
Yeah.
It's also mystery.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for the participation. Yeah. Sorry.
My name is Ken. I'm from law department. So
Ah.
I drew a dog because with a dog, like I will know what is the meaning of love and also what is the meaning of love.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Pulak Simon. I drew a bee.
A bee. Oh, fantastic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hardworking.
Exactly.
And the end product they come out with is honey.
Yeah.
So it's always the food.
They're sort of the pollinators of the world. I mean,
Yes.
if we don't have bees, we don't have food. So, yeah. Thank you
Great.
so much
Thank
for
you so
the
much.
participation. Yeah, we can start.
Yes.
We have a time to.
As we are running a little bit late,
Yeah.
so we'll not waste too much of time in the presentation. Rather, we'll concentrate on the activity that is planned after this. Because ultimately, at the end of any presentation or activity, what we are trying to do is find out certain solutions which will help in the policy making. So biodiversity is a topic, I guess this word everybody knows, right? And sitting in one of the most mega biodiverse regions of the world, it is our foremost duty to at least have a little bit of knowledge about what biodiversity is, how to conserve it, why to conserve it, when to conserve it. Sorry. Well, sitting in a state like Meghalaya, I guess it is not that tough for our eyes to see what we have in our backyard. So, being in amidst this biodiverse region, and already we have certain very old traditions, let it be of any religion, but every religion somewhere or the other has certain traditions to conserve this wildlife. Like in Meghalaya, we have sacred groves. In many other states, we have many animals which are associated to certain deities. So, in one way or the other, we have been conserving biodiversity without even knowing it. Well, forest coverage in Meghalaya, as we know, these are just datas where we can see that the South Garo Hills has the most highest number of forest coverage, followed by Ribhoy, East Garo Hills, where the number or the percentage of open forests is the highest, right? Moderately dense forest, followed by that non-forest 21%, forest and scrub 2% each. The state is a part of the Indo-Burma biodiversity hotspot of the world. The vegetation types are ranging from tropical rainforest in foothill to alpine meadows and cold deserts. Well, that's a little bit controversial when we talk about cold deserts in Meghalaya, because the cold desert that we all know, can anybody tell me? Which are the most famous cold deserts in India? Yes. So that is why the cold deserts of Meghalaya do not actually represent the cold deserts that we have northern in our country. But it shelters around 3,500 flowering plants, 1237 endemic species, 352 orchids. These are all datas. 35 threatened plant species are found in Meghalaya. According to the most famous champion and set classification, we have in Meghalaya, Assam subtropical hill savannas, Khasi subtropical hill forests, Assam subtropical pine forests, and Assam subtropical pine savanna. Whereas according to Haridasan and Rao, it is a little bit different, where we have tropical evergreen forest, tropical semi-evergreen forest, tropical moist and dry deciduous forest, which are the most abundant variety of forest in entire India. Grasslands and savannas, temperate forests, subtropical pine forests. The Meghalaya subtropical forest ecoregion are influenced by rainfall actually. As we all know that this part of the world receives a large majority of rainfall. So, they are extremely rich in two things. One is the canopy, another is the ground vegetation. Now, here one thing is very interesting, that all forests or all ecosystems when we talk about, they are dependent on each other. One species is dependent on another one. Let's say that in a forest, if the canopy is very thick, then the ground conditions will be moist, right? So, the shade loving herbs and shrubs will find more. Let's say tomorrow the canopy disappears. Let's say we are just cutting down the trees for some reason. We are just cutting down the trees. We are not harming the ground vegetation. But after maybe a few years, you will see that these shade loving mosses, herbs, shrubs are not there anymore. So, any ecosystem when we talk about, they are interlinked to each other. In any forest when we see in Meghalaya, maximum when a tourist comes, let's talk from a very layman point of view. Whenever a tourist comes here, and if you ask them what kind of forest did you see, what is the most common answer? Pine forests, right? Everybody says we saw pine forests. But are they actually pine forests? Only pine trees are available there. No, other varieties are also there. But the pine trees being dominant in that particular ecosystem, we call it as a pine forest or a sal forest, right? Why are these plants, trees dominant? Because they exert a dominating influence or a controlling influence on that particular ecosystem. Let's say in a sal forest, you will find the woody climbers are very high in numbers. But in a pine forest, you will not find them. These woody climbers are actually an indicator of very good health of an ecosystem. So, these sal trees that are there, which are dominant, they actually help the woody climbers in growing. They help the other varieties in sustaining. There are a few terms I would like to just point it out here. Does anyone know what is a keystone species? Anybody? A keystone species is a species which helps in the survival of other species. Let's say in a forest, you will not find many banyan trees. You will find hardly 10-20 banyan trees, right? But a banyan tree here is a keystone species. Why? Because in a banyan tree, there are many small birds which build their nests. It provides food to many animals. The primates, one of the most favorite trees of primates are banyan trees. There are very amphibians, reptiles that makes their nest in these kinds of trees, right? Or let's talk about the elephant. If an elephant is present in any ecosystem or in any grassland, you'll always see that the grassland is always in a growing phase. Because when you do not eat the grass of the grassland, it overflows with nutrients, and ultimately what happens is that the nutrient content comes down. So you need constant grazing in these ecosystems. Now a grassland is very big. How much can a deer eat? Right? But a herd of elephant can eat more. So it can maintain the ecosystem in that particular good manner. Now, if we talk about this grassland or forest, we need a little bit of management approach. Right? In Assam, what we do is, or in many other states, where there are predominantly grasslands, I guess you have been to Kaziranga or Manas, you see that in once a year, they burn down the grasslands, right? Why do they do so? We know that it's a part of the grassland management program, it's in the forest management plan, we know that, but why do we burn the grasslands? Because every year, these grasslands, they receive flood waters, right? These flood waters come from the high level areas. With this water comes the soil, and in this soil, we have the seeds of big trees. Now, when the water goes off, these seeds will start to germinate, and then the grassland will convert into a forest. But we need our grasslands for our other herbivores to survive. We have the rhino, we have the elephant, we have the buffalo, we have many species of deers, right? We have the sambar, we have the swamp deer. So, in order to stop this succession from being happening, we burn down the grassland so that these seeds do not germinate and the grassland remains as a grassland. But thankfully, Meghalaya does not face this problem as floods are not that predominant here. I was just talking about sacred groves. I guess you all must know about this concept more than me. But what I have learned about sacred groves is that when you associate something with a deity or a religion, it becomes our moral responsibility to conserve it. You cannot take anything from the sacred grove. You cannot put anything there, right? If I am not wrong. The same concept is in a national park, right? So, can we say that it came from here? So, that is why all our cultural beliefs and traditions that we have associated are actually somewhere have been implemented in today's policies, right? Let's say when we worship Durga, have you seen all the idols? There are 5 idols. All the idols, one deity each, has an animal associated to it. And that animal is beneficial to the ecosystem. The barn owl is there, the lion is there, the snake is there, rodents are there, right? So, each and every animal has a role to play in the ecosystem. And all these being linked to our traditional beliefs, and that is why we are conserving it. Before killing a snake, we think twice because it is related to some god, right? So, that is why I find it very much intriguing, because when we talk about all the laws and regulations that we have in a national park, it is so much common to the sacred groves that we have. Coming to ethnomedical plants or ethnobotany that we say, Meghalaya is one of the hubs of medicinal plants. out of which only 50% is known and 50% is still there. But it is just not there in the textbooks, it is there with our ancestors. We have all spoken about medicinal plants so much, right? There are many books published, but do you have any idea about the use of animal products in making medicines? Ethnozoology that we say. Is it very prevalent in Meghalaya? Some parts of Garo Hills, yes. There are certain tribes, I have worked with ethnozoology a little bit. I have found out that they are using, till now they are using rhino's milk in making medicine, and that is available in the black market. Tiger skin, tiger bone, tiger teeth, these things are very common, right? Rhino's milk is a thing which you will not easily find in the market. And I had a little bit of that. My student brought it. I just wanted to see how is it, it's in the dried powdered form. Then the oil of hornbill, the fats of hornbill is very good for back pain. I am not giving any ideas that you should go out and use these things. But yes, and this study is from the Kamrup district of Assam, which has Guwahati in it. And when we see or when we trace out the source, 70% of it is from the black market. So I guess sometimes a little bit less study is also important. If we know everything, if we have the knowledge of everything, then it is very easy to market it. So some studies or some knowledge should be there with our ancestors, should be there in our family line. I think it is good for the nature at this moment, because with the main problem is the population, right? The population is growing everywhere. So when population is rising so much, we need employment opportunities, which is not possible. So then people go for a little bit of these kinds of practices. So ethnozoology is a term that we need to ponder upon a little bit more. I guess you all know that the state animal of Meghalaya is the clouded leopard. Has anybody seen one? Not in captivity?
In the wild, it's
in the wild? Where?
where
Arunachal. Yes. I have also seen it in Arunachal only once.
where in Arunachal?
Where? Yes. Pasighat side. Okay.
Was it a protected area? Or?
No.
It's just the forests. Okay.
I got it while it was crossing the road once. So this animal also, being the state animal, I don't think if the Meghalaya Biodiversity Board has given any projects on its conservation or any, but I don't have any studies related to clouded leopard's population status in Meghalaya. I tried to Google it, but I didn't find any. This is the hill myna, which is also the state bird. The state bird. I guess this is very common. It is found in our university as well. Anybody know which is the state tree of Meghalaya?
Gomari.
Gamar. It's very much useful in timber also, which is a bad thing actually. Again. These are few of the new discoveries. Our university recently did a taxonomic survey, a taxonomic workshop with ZSI. Well, Shillong is very lucky to have ZSI office here, because they are doing very good work, and recently we have taken all these pictures from them, and the Zoological Survey of India has found out they have very good study in bats and in amphibia, and these are some of the very new discoveries that are happening. Now see, new discoveries being happening in a state at this year, like in 2024, 2023, we are finding out new species of primates as well. A monkey species not discovered till now. We got it from Arunachal Pradesh near the China border. So we still have so much to discover, and all these can be possible if you have good policies for researchers to come up, right? These are some of the wildlife of Meghalaya. Now, what is the need for conservation? My father is a 85-year-old gentleman, and I have asked him once that, what do you mean by wildlife conservation? He said this word conservation was never associated with wildlife when he was growing up, because everything was plenty then. The road from Guwahati to Shillong that everybody travels, on the right side we have the Nongkhailam Wildlife Sanctuary, on the left side we have the Amsang Wildlife Sanctuary. Before this 4-lane project was happening, tigers and elephants used to cross the road. They used to migrate from one part to the another, from this wildlife sanctuary to that. So now, after this entire road was constructed, this population was completely isolated and this population was isolated. Now, before it was a very long continuous patch of forest. After this fragmentation being happened, the main problem is that in the Meghalaya side, there is ample areas for elephants to migrate. But in the Assam side, the Amsang Wildlife Sanctuary is very small and it is being encroached. So that is why these elephants, when they migrate, human elephant conflict is happening there. That is why government is trying to evict these people from there. And it's a very big issue after that, you all have seen in the papers. It's a small diagram. You see there are 3 trees, and if you know the hollow gibbon, you have seen the hollow gibbon, right? The hollow gibbon needs a canopy. It cannot walk on the ground because it has long hands and short legs. So if there is a continuous canopy, it is a very prime habitat for the hollow gibbon. They can easily travel from one place to another, right? What happens if we remove the tree from between? The canopy is broken, and this is the fate of the golden langoose. So this is one of the major problems that we are facing in today's wildlife, is forest fragmentation. Why I am just putting a few thoughts in your mind, because everything will be needed in the activity that is followed up by this. Now, is conservation everyone's job? You are from the risk assessment department, you are from the biodiversity board, somebody is from forest, somebody is from law. So, is it everyone's job, or just blaming the forest department or the biodiversity board is enough? Now, we say it's everyone's job, we don't do it, that is a different thing. Yes, that is why we are sitting here together. Because whenever you talk about stakeholders, everybody is a stakeholder. Wildlife conservation is everyone's job, it's not someone's job. Now let's come to the activity that we have. We just have 5 minutes, I'll explain the activity. This is a map of the Gibbon Wildlife Sanctuary in the Jorhat district. Okay. Now if you see this particular thing is the, do we have a pointer or something? Pointer, okay. So this is the wildlife sanctuary. If you see, there is a railway line passing through it. It is not adjacent, it is passing through the wildlife sanctuary. Also, at the end of the wildlife sanctuary, let's say the wildlife sanctuary starts here, this is the wildlife sanctuary. On that end, there are 2 villages. And there is a road that passes right through the middle core area of the wildlife sanctuary. And these villages use this road. Okay. All these adjoining parts are the tea gardens.
The dotted ones.
The dotted ones. And they are constantly encroaching the land. And also, to bring all the tea leaves, they need this particular road also. Right? Now, I will talk about the biodiversity that is there. It's a very small area, right? I guess 20.
Yeah, about 1920.
1920 square kilometers, but it has 7 species of primates there. 7 in this small area, which includes the hollow gibbon, the Assamese macaque, the slow loris, rhesus macaque, pigtail, stumptail. Then we have the leopards, we have elephants, right? So these are the problems of this entire wildlife sanctuary. It is very small and under constant pressure with a load of biodiversity. What we are going to do is, we are going to divide you into
think
5
Four-
groups.
4 or 5 groups.
And these are the 5 groups that we'll do after the tea break. We'll not tell you which group you'll fall under. So you'll just have to take out chits. And then you have to advocate for your department. Let's say you are the railway authority. And I'm telling you that why don't you remove the railway line from there? But obviously it is not possible, because to relocate a railway line, at least 5-6 crores or 10 crores is minimum requirement, which the government won't pay, right? So you have to advocate, how do we mitigate this issue, right? There will be another group of the forest department. What are they trying to do? What are they trying to advocate? What are they trying to tell the other departments to mitigate? Then we have the tea garden owners. They will also advocate their part. Then we have the village folks who are completely using the road. Before they used to go on cycles, now they have fancy cars, right? The speed limit of the car is not there. So there are road kills every time. Then we have the researchers, local NGOs and conservationists, whom we say the people who shout. So everybody has to do their part. Everybody has to advocate for your own department. Finally, we'll come down to a mitigation, and finally we'll have a policy in our hand where every department has to leave something of its own, adopt a good practice, and finally we'll have a solution for this entire Hollow Gibbon Wildlife Sanctuary, right? Any questions?
Has anyone been to that area? Just as an example. No. Okay. We actually were part of a study where we found, he mentioned about the stump-tailed macaques. So just an addition to that, we actually found the world's largest stump-tailed macaque troop over there. Can anyone guess how many number of individuals that we found? We found it in the compartment 4 he was showing. So it's the world's largest count. Obviously, we don't have stump-tailed macaques all around the world. We do have in the Southeast Asia. The last count was around 120, 130. We counted 198. And it was, we are very sure there were more than 198, because the time we reached, most of them had crossed. We actually published the paper. This is part of the paper, and we have the video. So now we have the evidence also that this is the largest part. And the pressures that he was mentioning is, and so much of, you can imagine about 200 individuals of that stump-tailed macaque.
And stump-tailed macaque is a very big macaque.
Yeah.
And it's a ground-dwelling macaque. When a group approaches, you'll get the sound of that. They are quite big and they are quite aggressive as well.
Yeah.
So it can be a factor due to these pressures that there might be 4 or 5 groups which have come together to stay together for protection.
Yeah.
This might be one of the theories behind it, right? So these are all the pressures. Should we divide them into the groups now?
Yeah, I think we can do. And then we go to tea break.
Yes.
And then
how many of them are there? One. He was there, right? He'll come?
2
Okay,
of them,
2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
So one we can start is, we've made chits right over there. So one of you can just take one, and then that's their department. Okay. We can start by one. Is it okay? Yeah. Take it. I mean, whoever wants it. Yeah. Yeah. One each.
You have
And
to
then-
open. Tea garden. Okay. Village folks. Okay. Okay. Great.
Which is the forest department?
Which is the forest department?
Did you get forest? Oh, you got railways. Yeah.
So what we
Which-
need to do is, you have a chart paper, right? So you have to
Yeah, you
frame
have
out
chart
what are the
papers.
problems, what are your priorities as the stakeholder, and Maximum maybe it's 10 to 15 kilometers.
10-15 kilometers. That's long. Are we almost done? Maybe it's fine. Yeah. It's been a good session. Good. So we just had one video which I mentioned about the largest number of stump-tailed macaques, right? This is that video from that paper. So we can actually count. It's a 10-minute video, and we've counted 198 from here. So and this is compartment 4. If you see, it's that point location, right? This one, yeah. So it was very easy for us to count. Anyone who has a question like how do we count? It's just we just sit and let them cross and just count it. Right? We had that count and then we had the video as well, and then we compared, and we were when we were sure that we had at least this number, and then 198 was the sure number. I think we had about 206, 207 in our count in the field. Can we start maybe? Right? Good. So anyone wants to volunteer as first group? Or we can follow the number we had.
No, forest department should talk at the
Forest department
last.
should talk last?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yours is last, so it's a relief. Good.
Can we start with the railways? Okay.
Yeah, we'll start with the railways. Good.
Great.
Good afternoon. So for today we are in the railway department in the context of this wildlife industry. So we are three of us in numbers, and as per the map, we are preparing the presentation also. So we are prepared this presentation like kind of a organized analysis of the and the solutions which we have can overcome to combat this. Anyone who is against terrorism. So we, as per this understanding, we have like it's as we all know that Indian modes of communication actually it's a development for the state and the country as a whole. So it's a form of connectivity where when we can cross one village to another village, so it's also another strength to which we can cross from one village to the other village or from one state to the other state. And it's a form of communication where it's the faster mode of communication and it's also one of the cheapest mode of communication. And as we all know, it's also the assets to the country and the state as well. So the weakness, actually, one of the weakness we can say, the presence of the railway within this country is creating this disturbance to the whole habitat. And also it's destruction of the whole protected area and also sanctuary. And the other way is like it's when the railway, as you all know,
Policy making to labor.
Pain to session nahi. Jaise brain to session nahi. Parkar gusai diye.
And the opportunities is when we go through the map and we verify that there were 5 compartments in this sanctuary, and from this compartment number 1 and a part of compartment number 2 is affected.
Yeah.
So we can see that the whole area was not affected by the presence of this railway track. So we're trying to actually there's a threat also from comparing from all these 3 renewable resource authorities. We can get a threat also like it's really a threat to the wildlife sanctuary. So when we 3 of us sit together and we discuss, we come up with this solution. Actually, most of the time, we know the speed of the train everywhere it goes. There's no limitation of speed. It crosses the sanctuary also with like what we heard from our resource persons also that they said that this even the Rajdhani Express also passes through this. So there was no speed limit controlling this. So that is also one of the most important thing we should take into consideration. Number 2, perform monitoring and training of drivers with regards to the stretch of this protected area. Actually, this protected area, like the animals, they passes through also. But sometimes some of the drivers or staff didn't even know that the stretch has to be reduced, the speed has to be reduced, so that one proper training is required for them. And even what we also come to know that the drivers and the staff who control the train, actually they are not have the full control, speed control, type control, room staff. So they also should have a proper kind of signaling to give signals to the drivers who's controlling the train, so that the loss of life will be affected much. And watch tower should be constructed at few points within the stretch of the sanctuary, so that whenever the animal crosses through, the watch tower, the person or the person concerned, or the person who is on duty, he can give
Signaling.
driver of the train.
policy program.
Speed monitoring. Early morning system.
In that shape or in very old condition where to say like the sensors or the braking system is not fully
त्यसो
functional.
हामी চাব পাৰোঁ এইটো আচলতে আছে নাই
So that's also
সেইটো চাব লাগিব সেইটো নাজানো এতিয়া বুলি নালাগে মানে কথাটো হ'ল
ৰেলৱেজৰ পৰা আমি যিটো পলিচি বনাম তুমি এই দুটা আমি ইনক্লুড এতিয়া নেক্সট
আমি মানে এটা ক'ম যে এতিয়া লেটছ এজিউম দেৰ ইজ নো পলিচি এইটো এৰিয়া এনেকুৱা আছে
high technology or sensors where we can have this kind of trains where it sends the passing of the animals and the train was automatically. And last but not least, you can have a proper awareness programs so that everyone can be sensitized about the importance of railways also, and so that everything will be in balance. So that's all we have from this side.
Thank you so much. Yes, you can go back. Next
Tea garden.
tea garden go next.
If you could just tell them.
I think the mic's fine. Yeah, you can go ahead.
So we're presenting tea garden owners, very corporate, and we really don't care about the environment. We just want to show the simplicity of corporate. So we're going to straight go to the challenges we face. Like we have too many, human animal damages to our crops and to our workers and settlements, and we have not received any compensation or support from the damages caused, and then even some of our workers were killed and injured, and no compensation for that as well. And we have transportation issues also, like no support again from the government. I mean, we're doing so much of good things to the area, but then nobody is caring to promote us. So we'll tell about the benefits of the tea garden. It actually provides livelihood, as you know, and it sustained the tribal community. So here in the area of Islam, they are tribal communities. So we try to sustain them by giving them employment, and it raises the economy. Even we came to know that we were handed this land from the PA on lease to carry out the agricultural purposes activities in the area. So it justifies that the tea estate is much more beneficial economically than the PA itself. And also it promotes the national prestige and tourism for the unique flavor, because Assam is well known for the flavor. And also it promotes tourism, because people will be liking to visit the tea estate more than an unpredictable animal. So
Correct.
we have few recommendations for the forest department. We don't want the PA to be there. And also we want like forest department to at least manage the conflict a little bit well. Like they're always delaying the whenever we we go and complain and all that, and then come tomorrow and all that. And also even human settlements are passing through our PA, and even through the roads are passing through our tea estates component, and we don't want that also. And railway tracks also, TK it's there, one is there, but we don't want further constructions. And we also want the railways to help us in establishing a station where we can store our goods so that we can further transport our materials. And to the village folks, we have been so kind to you guys. So we request the villagers to be more cooperative to safeguard and promote the tea plantation. And in conclusion, we want to say that having the tea estate is more beneficial than the PA because it generates more revenue to the state. Tourism is also more promoted than the sanctuary, since again visitors are more likely to visit the garden rather than an unpredictable animal. And the estate owners can also provide CSR, corporate social responsibility for the villages, which will also raise the standard of living of the people around there. So thank you. That's all from the estate owners.
So the storage area you want from the railway department or the forest? Anyone? Okay.
We are the village folks.
From
Problems faced by the villagers. First is the nearby we have the wildlife sanctuary, so we face mainly wildlife attacks in our agriculture, which destroy our crops and agriculture. Then houses also where is being where children are there, school students and villagers are there, and this includes all types of habitation which face wildlife attacks. Also in village garden and village forest. Then, due to this wildlife sanctuary, villagers face restriction in the mode of communication through the sanctuary, and communication with other villages. There is a lot of restriction. We cannot go anytime. Night time there is fear of attacks, and forest department do not allow. And due to this mode of communication, next we face this the marketing of our forest and agricultural products of the villagers. Then another main problem we face is that because all the nearby we have a lot of area is covered by tea garden. So the main problem the village we face from the tea garden is the flow due to runoff. We face the flow of pesticide. In the tea garden, a lot of pesticides are being used, and this pesticide runoff to our villages is affecting our aquatic biodiversity, and our agricultural production is low. So we want the tea garden owners not to use pesticide, and if they use pesticide, to give us compensation to the villagers for our low produce. So this government should look into this, and this demand should be mitigated with the tea garden owners. And if they use so for runoff should not come to the village, such measures can be thought of and created. So in this regard, this will affect our daily livelihood. So this is very important, and pesticide is a major challenge. It's not a minor; it's a major challenge.
Yeah.
Then solution expectation. We would like a fencing of the sanctuary to prevent animals coming to our agricultural land, and we would expect and request the forest department and the government to train the village volunteers. We will give volunteers to be trained by the forest department for wildlife rescue and training to the villagers, and in return of this service, the villagers and the volunteers maybe get monetary benefit
Yeah.
from the forest department or government. Then help from the government for livelihood schemes generation near the sanctuary. This will be helpful to the villagers. So this if livelihood schemes are given, then those villagers who are doing smuggling of the important plants, endangered plants and animals from the sanctuary, this may be stopped. Because villagers will need livelihood generation to stop this kind of biopiracy smuggling. And creation of from the forest department environment, we want near the sanctuary creation of environment learning centers. So this will help the forest department villagers in protection conservation of the wildlife, and plus generate employment through tourism and a lot of awareness and knowledge knowledge generation and acquire knowledge. So environment learning center should be environment learning center near the wildlife sanctuary should be granted as a scheme from the government side. Then employ local villagers volunteers as guide also to the after and to this environment
reservation
only local villagers should be employed as guides and volunteers. Then
Carpool
since
public
it is restriction and the village will want
Rafael গাড়ি হলে
to
প্রবলেম হবে রিজার্ভেশন
either to the sanctuary
তারা
or
কোটা দিয়কছে ফরেস্ট ডিপার্টমেন্টের ইয়ান রক্ষা করে
from the government and
No.
political
Scheme
side,
10%,
for
12%.
transport our agriculture and for communication.
Animal
And
rescue too
also
important.
villagers want livelihood support like timber and
ইউ স্কিল
some other
ডেভেলপমেন্টের কথা বলছে স্কিল
cement
ড্রাইভার
waste
করো
collected from the sanctuary for
Ecosystem
livelihood
boost
generation. We want this permission from the forest
এমপ্লয়মেন্ট
department.
জেনারেশন ভেরি নাইস রিসেপশন এটা কোয়া নাই
So we're representing the forest department, the conservationists, the NGOs, as well as the researchers. So actually we have not written so much points, but then I'll just elaborate on a few points from our side. Okay, starting with the forest department, which is the authority as well as the monitoring station for the sanctuary. So I'll just point out first the drawbacks or the loopholes that the forest department is facing. First thing first, we have lack of trained staff, and secondly, for monitoring the impacts that the railway that the construction of the impact that this railway project have on the station. We're facing a lot of problems in monitoring because first thing, as I mentioned earlier, we have lack of trained staff. Secondly, we don't have much funding to use advanced let's say technologies like in the to construct like sensors and all for detecting the sensors for detecting the to collect the
animal
The
detections
animal movements.
animal detection.
Yeah.
And then as I've learned about this project, it seems that I don't know how this railway project got established, because first thing first, before starting any railway project, especially in a forested land, you need an environmental clearance from the ministry. So how much that has been taken into account, I'm not, since I've not studied this research paper, I'm not aware of this project all so
coal line
together.
হয়
So
Coal
I just
line,
want to
coal
know,
line.
please,
তো এটা তো ব্রিটিশ
sir,
আমলে
if
বানানো
you
আছে
can
railway
just
line
give
টো।
us were these taken into consideration, the environmental
The
clearance
railways
and
that
everything?
were built at that time, these are from the British era, because it's a very important line to transport coal from Upper Assam. So rest everything was notified after the railways were placed.
But for notifying any reserve forest, for notifying a sanctuary, these has to be taken into consideration. Like the biodiversity richness and all these. So I'll just point out the solutions that
Yeah.
as a forest department we can do is first thing first, we need more funding. We need more funding from the central government, from the state government, to carry out programs like training programs for the staffs. Then we need to recruit more qualified trained staffs also in the different divisions of the forest department, especially like wildlife. And we need to collaborate with the conservationists, the NGO, as well as researchers. If the forest department can provide funding for researchers to conduct more research on this particular area, maybe we can come up with some solutions. And then it's very important that this is not a one-man show. So we need to collaborate with everyone, including the villagers as well as the railway department, as well as the tea gardeners, to come up with a solution in solving this problem. So I think that's all from our side.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So, when we are framing out any policy, just keep in mind that there are no policies here. This particular example that we have given you, we just take it as that there is no formulated policy right now, and we are sitting here to frame out that policy. Okay, so whatever is to be done in the future after this policy. Now we'll open the session for any cross questioning if you want. If anybody has any grievances against each other, you can come forward.
As we have told, we have against tea garden for pesticide use and destroying our agricultural land and water biodiversity.
Yeah, sure.
Drinking water as
We want
well.
compensation from them.
Okay. Any answer? More can you learn? Can you reduce the use of pesticides or make it an organic tea garden?
Yes, and we will be providing compensation, CSR also, but and also we have come to the conclusion that we will start using organic pesticides, and also with the villagers, we'll train the villagers and make sure that. So one is the compensation will be given. Second is that we will be trying organic pesticides from now on, and the third is we'll try to make sure that the drainage systems are also properly constructed and well maintained, and slightly deviate from the village area. So we look into that. Just give us some time.
Maybe we can have a quota for the local villages where they have a job, guarantee, 5% or 10%. So then it's a better collaboration. So that the villagers will be happy.
Any other questions?
Other from forest department, the
Yes.
villagers we want, nearby century, those villagers, we want the forest department to allow us to collect seasonal crops,
Fruits.
some medicinal plants,
Okay.
some seasonal timbers.
I think NTFP collection is allowed for the indigenous tribes. So I guess that is taken care of.
Nice.
Only non-timber forest products can be collected by the tribes which are residing from decades. Any other questions from anybody?
So actually, I
Yes.
have one question. When tea gardens said that tea gardens are more beneficial than the PA.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? How?
So basically, people are very, I think they are repulsive towards a very unpredictable animal, and sometimes they don't look that pretty. But then tea estate, somehow they give that kind of aesthetic vibe that I would like to take a picture, but I'll not take a picture next to a tiger in an open area. So, and tea estate, we don't have that much of rules and regulations. You can come, but in a protected area, there are lots of rules and regulations. So, and more beneficial because obviously it raises the GDP, it also raises the economy. and it also helps the local villagers in generating employment for them, and I think it's a win-win situation most of.
If we don't have the PA.
If we don't have to.
Okay. That is their.
I'm talking from.
Yeah, got
Yes,
it. Got
yes,
it. That is
understood.
their perception. Yeah.
Biologist, but I'm talking from.
Any other questions
it.
from anyone?
We have one.
Yes, sure.
A suggestion actually to the forest department that in the map, the compartment one, why don't you guys give it
Push
to
it in.
us?
Push it in.
And you give us a list.
No, and because they are already giving us on lease the the shaded area.
Yeah.
I don't know what is this.
Yeah.
The shaded area. So this area is yeah.
The least area. Yeah.
You see the least area. So I think
So we have to denotify the area now because it's a protected area.
maybe this portion can be given to the tea estate, and then this completely.
Take to the forest.
Yeah, you don't even have to give it on lease, and it becomes a continuous kind of area, and then while this becomes house. So
Okay.
that is-
Just I'll talk from the forest department now because being working in this field for so many years, I have so much to tell here right now. For this particular area to grow into a forest, it will take minimum 60 to 70 years.
Yeah.
We can give you this area, but only after that much
That much time.
time. Secondly, this particular area is very prime habitat for the elephants. So that is a problem. Again,
That's one of the issues which he mentioned is that it's easier for us to swap areas like that. So you take this and this. The problem with that is the secondary growth of forest. What we already have to create that, how long do we have to take? And 60, 70 years is a very, we need 100 years at least.
Another thing is that in Kaziranga, if you see, in Kaziranga, we keep on adding new areas because it's a very continuous big patch of forest with the Brahmaputra river flowing in the north bank. So we can add up areas there. But this particular area is under so much of stress from all the sides. You do not even have any sides where you can stretch it. So that is a constant pressure to this area. That is why we have taken this exam.
So one more thing, I mean, city gardens can be relocated. If the government gives them elsewhere,
Yes,
then
obviously,
will be the
that can be done.
solution. Because
Why to encroach towards this side? Why not to this side?
yes, why not give them all together?
Why the answer is because here we have animals, this side we have people, and these people can talk. This is the reason. Okay, so after listening to everybody, we have sketched out a policy, and please add me.
Yeah. I'll add.
For the railways department, the speed, you can take the points down. The
Tell us if it
speed-
makes sense to you
yes,
and
if it makes sense to you.
yeah.
For the
that
railway department, the policy is that the speed should be monitored and a signaling, patrolling, some kind of a early warning, system can be developed because signaling has been used by the railway department from many ages. So they are more pros in this matter. So you can develop a system where an early warning system can be developed, from where you can take the help of the forest volunteers. In that way, the local villages also can be your volunteers, you can train them. So it's beneficial for everybody. For the tea garden owners, it's a profit-making enterprise, and the CSR is also towards not only towards people, but also towards your environment. As the tea gardens are emitting carbon, so if you think in that way, you also have to give something to the wildlife sanctuary back. A buffer zone can be created for the tea gardens. That means you cannot abruptly end the wildlife sanctuary here and start the tea garden from here. We need an ecotone in between, a transition zone where slowly the characteristics will fade away.
Also just to add,
Yes, please.
just to add, as in, because I saw it was a conflict between the local people and the tea
Yes.
tribes, because you already have your CSR things right now. So a lot of the programs could be given to the local villages and the forest as well.
Another tea garden owners are using this route for transportation of their raw materials to the factory. So an alternative route can be developed. And yes, or there is a rule actually in front of any or in the fringe areas or in the buffer zone, if any tea gardens are there, just like the Hathikuli tea estate in Kaziranga or the Manas, what is the tea estate called? Nearby Manas. There is another Manas national tea garden. Both are organic because it's a directive from the Supreme Court. You cannot use pesticides because the runoff can be very much dangerous to the wild populations. We have recently seen vulture deaths happening, right? This was because of the runoff and the pesticides that were there. For the village folks, yes, the village folks are residing here for many generations. So the village folks are, they know how to coexist with the wild populations. What you can do is you can use public transport while traveling on these roads, which will reduce the traffic and will be beneficial to the wildlife. Certain emergency system can be developed so that if anybody is sick and needs to be transported, ambulance service can be given so that you do not use your own vehicles that much. Yes, fencing can be done, which was one of your ideas also. Fencing can be done, but yes, with a buffer zone included. Volunteers for wildlife rescue, certain scholarships can be given. Also, you can boost the ecotourism there, which will give livelihood. Drivers, homestays, right? Local produce you can sell. You can also go for cultural tourism. So there are many things that you can use this particular area for your own benefit. And yes, certain reservation in the forest jobs, 5 to 10%, whatever it is, we can offer them as policymakers. To the tribes or to the local indigenous people who are residing there for generations.
And for forest.
And for the forest department, Nawaz?
Yeah. Our key solution, I think, was the protected area, right? So it's the forest, what we can do. Of course, the points you mentioned are great. I mean, those are the lacking ones. So, of course, more funding. I think the tea tribes here do offer the CSR activities. So we can draft that into a policy, like most of your budget, like you can divide it between the local people and the forest department stuff, right, for training stuff. I mean, that's one of the most important things, because the second one was also getting more trained staff, right? So getting more trained staff, and that is collaboration and funding for researchers that will again be gone to the CSR funding, I think. So
the forest department or the tea garden can just strike a deal. If you want to work in our area, you have to pay us. You pay them, you work here. By the money you get, you use it for conservation. That's it. So I guess we have come to a little bit of mitigation that we have done, and we can frame it into a policy. I think our law colleagues would have been much better in drafting the policy as they are not here. So definitely, as it is time for lunch, I'll just leave you with a small idea.
But thank you so much for the participation. It's very interesting. Finally, we have
just a small idea. Just think about it. We all have heard of these two words, right? Survival of the fittest and the theory of coexistence. Does these two theories go hand in hand? Survival of the fittest means we both fight. If I am more stronger, I survive, and that person is eliminated. Okay. The theory of coexistence states that if there are two people, we can at least shift a little bit, make some adjustments, and we both can stay. This particular example that we had given you is a perfect example of the theory of coexistence, right?
Initially, it was survival of fittest because they all wanted their shares.
What we started as was the survival of the fittest, but we ended in the theory of coexistence. So a small diagram, if you see here, there's only one species of bird here, right, in this entire ecosystem. Then the second species of bird arrived at this particular place, which was earlier dominated by the yellow ones. Now there are two conditions here. One, that both the species will fight and one will shift. But here if you see what they have done, they have made a small shift in their behavior. Let's say the grasslands of Kaziranga National Park. You will see in the same grassland there is a rhino grazing, there are some water buffaloes, you will see some swam deers, some hawk deers, some barking deers, and the elephant also comes by. Everybody is a herbivore, everybody is eating the same grass. But why are they not fighting? Any answers to this question? Resource partition. What is resource partition? Let's say I eat the same grass, you eat the same grass. We'll fight. So I'll eat it during the day, you eat it during the night. I'll eat the top part, you eat the roots. This is how we partition and this is how we coexist. So today's world is more about the theory of coexistence rather than the survival of the fittest. Thank you for the first session. You people have been great, and we hope that we'll get such enthusiasm and participation in the next sessions to come. Have a good lunch. Don't be too much sleepy after that because we have a very important session following this.